Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Forever United TV. Hello and welcome back to another live show. We're talking all the Manchester United latest. As always, we want your interactions in the chats as well, everybody. As United make their stance clear in terms of midfield hunt and, of course, what we want up front as well. Updates on Joshua Zirkzee's situation and what Manchester United want from that this summer. But the main story is the hunt for Casemiro's replacement, the midfield hunt, and a new name, well, not a new name, has popped up onto the scene. I'm going to ask the question this morning about Felix Nmecha and whether you feel like that is adequate. Is that good enough? Is this driven by Christopher Vivell? Are Manchester United looking at Nmecha because their top target, Elliot Anderson, is destined to Manchester City? Should United be doing more, paying more and going above and beyond to get their top targets rather than stories like this in the most important transfer window for Manchester United in recent history? I know I say that a lot, but this one is because this is stabilising in the Champions League and the only way United survive, like we've said many a times before. So should United be pushing the boat out more and convincing players? Should we just give up on our top targets if they want to go elsewhere? Should we just say, well, we want to pay more? A lot of Man United fans will come in on that and say, well, we did this with Harry Maguire. City wouldn't pay a certain price, and United did. City did it with Cucurella and Chelsea, with that saga over with Brighton and that transfer as well. They could do the same again, could they not? Or has Elliot Anderson already made his mind up? That's the talk going around again. It's all over social media about Elliot Anderson being City's top target, destined for Manchester City. Should we just go and pay more for him? Is Felix Nmecha a mistake from Manchester United? Now, the story on Nmecha has come from German reports, and it's from Borussia Dortmund basically balancing their books, stabilising financial security, not overcharging fans, having a set price, obviously counteracting the fact that the clubs are run a certain way in Germany. The ticket pricing is a certain way. We've seen this before. And Borussia Dortmund, obviously, even with Champions League money, still looking to be able to, well, let's just say survive off their own incomings. And selling players is something that Dortmund have done consistently. And with 2 years left on his contract, Nmecha is he's gathering momentum in terms of an exit talk from the German side of things anyway. They're expected to go into talks according to this exclusive and this report. And the main one come from Gimme Sport, of reading through this now and then taking into the German side of this report as well, where they've got it from, saying that Nmecha is open to moving back to the Premier League. We say back because he was at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola let him go. He only played a handful of Premier League games, got his hands on a League Cup as well at Manchester City. Let go, now turned into a somewhat of a powerhouse midfielder at Dortmund. One thing I will say, and it does seem underwhelming, this transfer, and not the one that would get you on the edge of your seat or have you, well, interested. Let's just say that. And this is why I've asked the question straight from the top of the show. I'll play both sides of this here and play devil's advocate as well with it, because Nmecha, 6'3", powerhouse, strong midfielder. Losing Casemiro and that strength and presence in there is going to be hard to replace. I know that there are options in the Premier League. We've spoken about them. But should we also be looking elsewhere? We've obviously brought up the conversation about Angelo Stiller at Stuttgart. Now looking at Nmecha at Dortmund as well. Dortmund, by the way, on a fantastic run, which he has played a massive part in. Massive game coming up as well this weekend in the Bundesliga. And the next couple of weeks for them as well, with high-flying Leipzig and Bayern Munich on their radar. But he has been a big part of every single game this season. Now, I know it doesn't seem like much, but being available and the injury record that he's got is appealing a little bit. I say that. Am I scraping the barrel here? Look, he's a good player. Obviously, it wasn't good enough for Pep Guardiola. Didn't see the potential in him. And again, another player that's gone from England to Germany to find his feet, and then we'll probably end up moving on again. It's another one of them Borussia Dortmund midfielders sent on to a Premier League club for massive amounts of money. The price is something else that's obviously going to attract Manchester United. And I think there is obviously connections there. You can automatically link Christopher Vivell and his contacts in Germany over this and what Manchester United might be able to get done. The price doesn't seem too steep. And with him being 25, he is around about a 45 to 55 million euro. So you're looking between 40 and 50 million for him in pounds. signing for Manchester United with 2 years left on his deal. Now, Dortmund have set this price, and this is why the story has come out, apparently, from Germany, that's what they want, that's what they're earmarking, and he is the next one to leave. Jude Bellingham, obviously only 1 year in, not quite at that stage yet. Nmecha, obviously, is well into his time at Dortmund now, so a few years in since signing in 2023, he's the next one that's going to be out of the door. Is he good enough for Manchester United? That's the question. Could we be looking at these gems? A lot of fans would say, and I've had a lot of people come to me on shows and say, well, why are we always looking at the English players? Why are we overspending? We need to be looking at these gems and these other players. This is the sort of in-between type of player. Look, I'm not bothered for the squad side of it. Do I rate Nmecha? I think he's a good player. I do. I think he's performed well this season in a good Dortmund side. Look, they lost to Spurs in the Champions League. They lost to Inter Milan in the last couple of games in the league phase, which is why they were in the playoffs this week, albeit they did just beat Atalanta 2-0 in the playoffs and look comfortable now for the last 16. And they're right up there challenging again in the Bundesliga this season behind Bayern Munich, only 6 points with that big game, like I said, coming up for them. I think they're unbeaten in, I think it's about a dozen games, 12 games or something now. Dortmund, best team in Germany at the moment form-wise. He's played a big part in that. Look, I'm making a big case here for, it's not that I want the player, I'm just putting this forward as to why Manchester United might actually be looking at Felix Nmecha. I mean, physicality-wise, yeah, you wouldn't have an issue with that. 6'3", built like an absolute tank, solid midfielder, good creativity in terms of numbers. Well, not it's good, it's not exceptional. And he isn't the best out there. Is the biggest thing in this story the fact that Manchester United have accepted defeat, or they're not comfortable or confident yet that they're going to make Champions League? This is what I've been sort of looking into over this week, and we've had several stories. I mean, straight away, when you look at the performance again last night from Mane in that more of a 10 sort of role, attacking midfielder role as well. There's another player there that Manchester United, obviously, we were talking about yesterday that we've been linked to. Now, Felix Nmecha as well. Not your 60 to 80 million pound midfielders of the Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba variety. And what you've got to look at here, Nmecha is a box-to-box type of midfielder, so you still need a number 6. Could he be the number 8 alongside the number 6 that comes in, and the number 6 therefore being the big signing this summer? Or is this just completely underwhelming for you as a United fan that we're being linked with Bundesliga players again? No disrespect to that league, but again, obviously, Manchester United fans all know too well about players coming from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, in particular to Manchester United, that haven't made it. I mean, you only have to look back at the last 3, for instance, from Dortmund in Kagawa, Mkhitaryan and Jadon Sancho for Manchester United. This is where a lot of fans would get concerned. Or do we trust the recruitment, which hasn't been that bad recently? Hasn't been bad over the last window, and the players that we are digging out and finding and bringing in are fitting what we need. Is the data analysis side of things winning here with these types of players? And do you trust in it, is what I'm asking this morning, because this is a genuine story. 2 years left. This is Dortmund time to negotiate and get big money. They do it all the time, and we know they do it. So if he is open to coming back to England, should United be looking at him? Is he good enough, basically, is what I'm asking here. Give me your thoughts and give me your comments in on this as well, everybody. I want to talk about the midfielder situation today, because last night I'm sure you've seen Arsenal's meltdown. Oh, my God. Again and again, they are the comedy value of this Premier League, aren't they, the Arsenal, and the Arsenal fans on top of that. You'd have seen my reaction on Adam FC later last night to that Arsenal game. Go check that out after you've finished here on FUTV. And it is, I think, there for the taking now. United could be in a title race. We win a couple of games, because Arsenal's run isn't that good, to be honest. So, yeah, we could actually close the gap on Arsenal over the next couple of weeks, when we start playing football again, that is, anyway. But in that game again, obviously, Matthias Mane, who we spoke about yesterday morning, another 90 minutes and another fantastic performance for him. He has featured in every single game on this so-called turnaround bit of form for Wolves. Look, they're already down. We know they're down. But these good results that they're digging out and good performances they're digging out, I'm not saying this is just purely down to him, but coincidentally, since he started football matches for Wolves, Wolves have been a different kettle of fish. They have been 20 times more competitive. And maybe there is a gem there in Mane. Now, he didn't play the midfield role yesterday. It was more of an advanced role against Arsenal, as we've seen, but he's in there competing. And I've said this before, the games that he's played, I went through them yesterday and talked about the games that he's actually featured in and played 90 minutes pretty much in the majority of, and they're against the best teams in this league. So at 18, is that the better option? Or do we need more experience coming into Manchester United? Maybe a mix of both. But the fact that we're hearing about Matheus Mane and Felix Nmecha now as other options for Manchester United, it does to me, again, go back to what we said at the start of the week, the contingency plan for Manchester United. All you will see all throughout the week, and I've seen this regurgitated throughout loads of different accounts, Manchester United have only got 55 million to spend this summer if we don't make the Champions League. That is wrong. Of course it's wrong. And people are only using the money that we've got right now at the football club. But let's not forget, we're negotiating the Marcus Rashford sale. We've already got the money coming in for Rasmus Højlund as well. You could add that up. That's another 70 million on top. You're already into over 100 million there. And of course, Manchester United are looking to sell the likes of Manuel Ugarte and Joshua Zirkzee and replace them also. So you would put that down. If them players are sold, which is highly likely for the prices that we know Manchester United want for them, then I think United still would have at least 200 million to spend if we didn't make Champions League football this summer. What counts here is the quality of player that United can attract with Champions League football. And the finances above that then would allow you to stretch your budget. So is it a case of United waiting out here, just having these players on the line ready to go if United don't make the Champions League? That's how I'm looking at it right now. I do feel like there is something in this in case it doesn't go the way we want for Michael Carrick. And again, proof that it doesn't matter who the coach or the manager is going to be come the summer. Manchester United are continuing with their recruitment plans. Ineos are going to be buying players. Ineos are going to be bringing players in. And it doesn't matter who's there in the dugout. I said yesterday, I do think that Man United's managerial situation will be sorted and all wrapped up by the time the season ends anyway. We'll know if we're in the Champions League come May, and I think United will have an appointment in place by the time the season finishes. That's how I see it happening anyway. Let's get some comments in on that story, though. Felix Nmecha, is that underwhelming for you? Can you see Manchester United making a signing like this? Is the price appealing? A 25-year-old, fantastic injury record, 6'3" powerhouse in midfield. He gives us that little bit of solidness and steeliness in there that Casemiro brings us, perhaps. That's a player that United are looking at profile-wise. Let me know in the comments, please, everybody. As you can see, sporting the new Stone Roses Manchester United top as well. That is on our store now on OK Jerseys, everybody. If you want to get the best replicas out there, fantastic fit. You can see me in it. It is absolutely brilliant. I wore it last night in celebration of Arsenal bottling it again for the first time. But that is there now for as little as £15. By the way, everybody who was been on our prediction game, I forgot to mention this the other day. The people on the other end, with it being a certain new year, obviously, at OK Jerseys, we have a little bit of a delay. So the announcement for the winners I will probably bring up again this weekend from the last game. I know a few people have been asking because we do giveaways on match days and watch-along days from OK Jerseys. And this top is actually in on the new range as well. And if you win one of them prizes from our prediction game for the Everton game this weekend, it's not out yet. I've not got a link for it yet, the prediction game, but you could go and get this top with that code that is given to the winners on our prediction game. So stay tuned and be ready for that. We're probably going to have that, I'm thinking tomorrow, maybe late this evening, the new prediction game up finally. It seemed like a lifetime since we last said we're actually going to a game and we're actually going to be analysing the Manchester United game. My God, it has been painful this last couple of weeks. Into the chat we go anyway. Come on, give me your thoughts, everybody. Rolls in straight away with a super chat. Says, how many steps back do City take when Pep leaves? Question mark. When it happens, the new coach would probably play a different style and they still have 115 plus charges over their heads. Again, not wanting to get into the 115 charges. They've kind of given up on them. But Manchester City aren't the force they once was, even with Pep Guardiola there. When he leaves, yeah, they're going to have a big, big problem. A big problem. And there is still lots of talk of Pep Guardiola leaving come this summer. If United are on the up, and City are on the down, maybe this is the perfect time for Manchester United to actually say to Manchester City, look, there's no guarantee that Pep's going to be there after this season or even next season. Who you want to be playing for? United are in the Champions League, and we're going this way with this manager, and this is what's happening at this football club. By the way, Felix Nmecha's wages will be doubled at Manchester United, is also the report. Even at £150,000 a week, that transfer would be doubling the wages that he's currently on at Dortmund right now. So again, that's where Manchester United do have that law and that power. Most Premier League clubs would say the same thing in terms of being able to afford him. But again, this is obviously going to come down to the quality of the player. Cal says unless their elite buying from Germany is a massive risk. 9 out of 10 times they don't make Prem players, so I'll say no on him. Baleba plus Mainu pivot would be a powerhouse midfield, says Oculus. Yeah, that is still a possibility. But the way that Brighton are talking, I think they're completely pricing Carlos Baleba out of the market. I think Brighton's approach for Carlos Baleba, by the way, is going to devalue him even more. He's going to get more and more disgruntled. He's going to get, I think, a bit more frustrated with it not happening. His contract will just run down and down and down. And even if they don't sell him this summer, Brighton have got no chance of a new contract coming in for Baleba. And he'll just, at 21, be just playing out his contract, and they'll end up losing money and their system will fail. They need to cash in, and they need to be sensible right now. They need to be sensible with what they're doing with Carlos Baleba. We'll see if they're pressured into it come the end of the season and when the transfer window opens on that one. I've watched Thwaites quite a lot. The kid seems to never have a bad game. He's great at set balls and has an eye for a pass, both short and long range. People talking about the obvious, which was another fantastic performance last night in the FA Youth Cup. 4-1 winners against Oxford United for Manchester United's under-18s. Darren Fletcher's boys. Starring roles again for JJ Gabriel and Obi as well. Goals for them too. And Jimmy Thwaites being spoken about quite a lot there, like Wayne has said, and Gary's talking about also in the live chat there. Great performances there for Manchester United. And again, it is hopeful for Manchester United, and it is exciting if these players continue on. If these players continue on this trajectory and they are seen, let's just say, and their pathways are right. And I say this all of the time, and I always say Manchester United's first team has to be playing well and settled for any academy player to thrive. And I'm just hoping it works out just right for this next crop, because there is real talent in there. I've said it so many times before. There's no need to really go into, again, the qualities of these players. They just keep on doing it. Into the quarterfinals of the under-18s, the under-18s are now of the FA Youth Cup, and smashing everything in their path, including Manchester City last weekend as well, which we also talked about on the channel. And Obi maturing, not had the best of seasons behind the scenes. Obviously, frustrated that he isn't featuring anymore in the first team at Manchester United, but has knuckled down. His attitude issues that were apparently there have changed, and he does seem to be a lot happier and playing well. 2 big goals in the last 2 games for him now in the game. Jimmy Thwaites coming back from injury also. And JJ Gabriel just keeps on doing JJ Gabriel things. He is going to play a big part in Manchester United's future. And I think he could play a big part in the summer for Manchester United also. Exciting times ahead, but it only works, like I said, if Manchester United actually gets it right on the pitch with the first team. If there is nothing to go to, the players ultimately won't thrive. The players won't succeed. Players like Felix Nmecha, are they the right type of player for Manchester United? Angelo Stiller, players from the Bundesliga. Or should we be going for Prem proven? There's a lot of people saying, and I can see it in the chat right now, I'd rather get the players that are definitely going to give us that midfield we need to compete in the Premier League and pay more. Pay more. I don't mind paying 20 to 30 million more than Nmecha, because Manchester United need that type of player. It's more valuable to still be in the Champions League by spending 20 to 30 million more per player, because they are guaranteed Prem-proven players. That's what a lot of people are saying right now. You can look at things and say we've done well in finding these players and buying players from overseas, and they're not as expensive and turn out to be good players. All good and well, and that's great, but still you don't get any guarantees with this. You don't get any at all. And it's more valuable for Manchester United to be doing what other teams are doing right now. Like Newcastle's win last night pretty much guarantees them 80 million quid in prize money from the Champions League this season. That's where you've got to be. And if you have to spend more now to bring that money in, so be it. The only reason United are in the race for the Champions League right now is because we don't have any games. And we're not stretched squad-wise. We have De Ligt supposedly coming back for the Crystal Palace game. We've got Mason Mount coming back for the Everton game. The only player out injured then will be, obviously, Patrick Dorgu. And he's going to be back in around about 4 to 5 weeks, going off the reports as well. Obviously, we'll keep you updated tomorrow while Michael Carrick is live with his press conference. We'll bring you that again. And for we've got a game weekend, even though we're playing on Monday, to be talking about tomorrow. But that's why Man United are where we are now. If we're in European competitions and we're taking every cup competition seriously next season, which I expect us to be, this squad would not survive. With this squad right now, if we were in the Europa League, even with Michael Carrick, we won't be in the top 4. I'm just going to say it because we haven't got the depth. Casemiro can max out 1 3/4 games every single week. When you've got 2 games every week, you're playing every 4 days or something like that. Casemiro is done. Agate doesn't have the quality. This squad would not be where it is now if we were, say, for instance, in the Europa League. It wouldn't be. It's not good enough. The depth isn't there. The Manchester United need to invest in the right players, first of all, and then we need to bring in perhaps players like Felix Nmecha from Dortmund on top of that. So the spend is massive for United. It is. And I'm worried that if we get Europa League, which we're pretty much guaranteed to get, and let's be fair, next season, United will be back in Europe. I don't want Thursday nights in the Europa League, but Europa League, we're still going to need a big squad, but we're not going to be able to attract the better player. So that's the concern I've got. And then you start to look at the likes of Angelo, Stiller, Nmecha, Mane, Gomez, players like this, 4 other midfielders that Man United have been linked with that are not of the higher quality of player. And that's where I'm starting to get a little bit worried. Just ordered that shirt. Hopefully it gets it in time for next season. You will, even though it is Chinese New Year, Sean. That's why the January transfer window was so important. Will we not be able to replace or close all the gaps in the summer? The thing is, if you didn't have the right players to buy in January, was it worth taking that money away from what we need to do in the summer? It was a big risk not buying anyone in January. It was. I thought we needed more. It was a huge risk, but Manchester United, if they do get top 4, we'll look to that and say we made the right call there, because now we can spend everything on what we really need going into this summer window. United number 1 midfielder Tonali, Nmecha, Anderson, Schottelbeck, Julian Ryerson, Yan Diomande to United is better for next year, please. I don't know. You're not going to get that sort of player. Tonali is going to be interesting. It all depends on the finishing position for Newcastle. Them still being in the Champions League is going to definitely see Eddie Howe through to the end of this season. And that's where United will have a chance if they do want Sandro Tonali. We have to obviously finish in the Champions League places, but there's no way if Newcastle are still in Europe going into these latter months of the season, there's no way that squad can handle playing 2 games a week at the highest level. And that's when Newcastle will fail. They have done it before and they will not be able to sustain Premier League form like they've shown this season, like they've shown 2 seasons ago. So that would give us a chance to get Tonali. He would be an option for United. But again, is he not that box-to-box type of midfielder? Who is the 6? Who are we going to spend the amount of money on in the 6th position? That's what we're looking at. Andrew says, Adam, I agree about Baleba. Brighton have overvalued him and they will lose out on him in the end. They will, because the player isn't getting any better at the moment. His head is fully turned, I think, and it's not there. Whether United feel like that's the type of character and attitude that they want in this team, we'll see. I do think that Baleba would be a good player at United still. I still think he is a good player. The only reason I'm put off by Baleba is the price. And that's it. If Brighton carry on with that stupid, ludicrous price tag that they think that he's worth, they've got no chance. And United won't go near that price. Not in a million years. Maguire have to stay, and no doubt even Adam, if they don't like it or not, Maguire has to stay to stable our defence. Look, I think Maguire will stay. The story from the Daily Mail the other day pretty much, again, confirming that Manchester United, by the sounds of it, are looking to maybe make some kind of cut price deal for Maguire. So I think that one hopefully will be sorted before the end of the season. Mark says, Tonali, Hackney, Sanderberg or Gomez will make me happy for central midfield. You could do that for around 160 million with good negotiations. Leave around 100 million to solidify left wing, left back, and our backup striker. Keep them comments coming in on that. Mark's just led us into that other story that you can see at the bottom of your screen. Again, Team Talk, Give Me Sport, Dean Jones talking about Joshua Zirkzee. We know already about Joshua Zirkzee. The inevitable will come. We touched on it a moment ago with Manchester United only having 55 million. That's what we've got now without selling anybody. And obviously, like I just said, Rasmus Højlund is being sold. Marcus Rashford is being sold. Manuel Ugarte will be sold. Joshua Zirkzee will be sold. And that should give Manchester United, even without Champions League, around about 200 million. So that's where I think Manchester United are going to be. I think, well, when you look at the money we can spend on certain players that we've just discussed in midfield, that's where we're going to be struggling. The money's there to spend, but prices these players are, and not having Champions League football, we do the same thing, sell all of them same players, like I said, then we have Champions League money. You're looking at 250 plus minimum for Manchester United in the summer. More than enough for what we need to go into this season if you get the right players. And even at the top end of the prices, I think we can still do a lot more damage there in bringing Manchester United up to speed with the quality of the squad. But Joshua Zirkzee, in his future at Manchester United, obviously we know that he's going to end up leaving in the summer. What we get for him is going to be spent, according to these reports, on a number 2 backup for Benjamin Sesko, experienced backup for Benjamin Sesko, someone who is happy in this report to play second fiddle for Manchester United. That's going to be difficult, I think. I don't know. Is someone like Jean-Philippe Mateta on Manchester United's radar? If they're looking, according to this, for an experienced striker, it goes away from their normal profile of player that they want, because you're not going to be able to afford a backup striker who's going to play number 2 for the age and profile that Ineos would usually go for. 25, mid-20s, better future behind him. You're not going to find that striker anywhere. Now, I did do a story on Adam FC yesterday about Liam Delap. I don't think Liam Delap would come back into Manchester United again to be a number 2. And I don't want him at the football club anyway. He's already said no to Manchester United. But that's the sort of names that are going to be thrown around. By all accounts, Liam Delap is available on loan from Chelsea come the summer, maybe, according to reports. I don't want him, and I don't think it's the right move for Manchester United. I'm just saying what's out there in the news at the moment with the likes of Liam Delap, Jean-Philippe Mateta. You're looking for Premier League strikers. You're going to struggle to find them. You are, because they are few and far between with the right experience. And who's going to want to play number 2? So if United are putting everything behind Benjamin Sesko, I honestly look at it and think, who would come in? I mean, you are going to get games because United are going to be in Europe next season. So we're looking at 60 plus games for Manchester United minimum, I think, next season. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, someone might feel like they could come in and dislodge Benjamin Sesko. If they start putting the numbers up, then the way that Manchester United are playing, like obviously Carrick will give players a chance. If we're in the Champions League, I think Carrick's the manager. And if players are looking at Manchester United at that point, and you're looking at Michael Carrick, he's obviously left Cunha on the bench, left Sesko on the bench already in his first few games, and played other players that were in form. So you would look at this as a player and go, well, you've got a coach there that's not scared to drop players, and he is going to give other players a chance, even the ones on the peripheral. I think that's important, and I think that's what a lot of players will look at when it comes to this transfer window. Champions League, The way that United have run, the space in the squad, the money United can afford, the wages United can compete again with, and obviously Michael Carrick and the way that he has turned this team around, if he's the coach, that's an appealing proposition for any player looking to make a big move this summer. And I think that's where United do hold a slight advantage over other clubs from the Premier League as well that are in the Champions League. I think United have the edge on Manchester City in the transfer window if we make Champions League football. Because like I said before, Pep Guardiola's future is uncertain. You could say Man United's is in terms of the manager, but we're looking to start again and go on the up. City are only going to go down after Pep. I think even City fans would admit this, that when Pep Guardiola leaves, you're not going to find a better coach anywhere. And it's going to be one of them transitional periods where they have to adapt again. And if you're a player looking at that, you're going to go, I want to play for Pep and City. That's what it is at the moment. It's Pep City. Not City, but Pep Guardiola. That's the reason City have attracted all of these players, because they've got the best coach in the world. Not because of the name of City. It's because of Pep. And when he's not there, that changes. And they'll tell you the same thing. They're preparing themselves, City fans, for the obvious. They're not going to be crap, and they're not going to fall off like United did. They'll still be competitive, but it won't be anywhere near the Manchester City that we've known over the last 7 or 8 years. Nowhere near that. It's going to be a completely different story. So, Man United, the room in the squad, just starting and on the up again, turning the corner, I think that's a better proposition. And you can say I've got my red-tinted glasses on there, but it is real though, isn't it? You've got to be looking at that. Get some more comments in. Arsenal have already had 40 games. That's our total at the end of the season. Yep. And that just shows you how our squad, like I said, Baz, would fail right now. I don't think the squad would be in the top 4 if we had Europa League football right now. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell. It's a good comment, because that tells you exactly where we're at and why we've survived and still got the squad that we've got available to us, because of the recovery and rest time in between games. And that's a big advantage. I just mentioned Newcastle. You've got Chelsea's and Liverpool's schedules starting up again when the round of 16 kicks in. Chelsea have got to play City. They've got to play Arsenal. They've got to play Liverpool. Liverpool have got a tough run themselves. They've got to still play big games as well this season, and obviously got to go to Old Trafford, and United don't have European football in between. Chance is there for United. It really is. And United, I think, are negotiating and preparing themselves for Champions League, but they're being very careful, and there is a contingency plan creeping in, which is why these names are being mentioned that we're talking about now. Please do keep liking the video as well, everybody. Keeping up to that 150 mark. Let's see if we can get that up near 200, please, before we finish up. If you're enjoying the content, pop a like on the video, get into the comment section, join the debate in the live chat as well. I have put a link in to the OK jerseys for all of the new Stone Roses gear. That's in the live chat, and it is in the description, everybody, as well. If you click on that link, you can even use Adam as your code on checkout. So discount code Adam, as you can see there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, get another 8% off. You would basically get this top for 15 quid if you wanted to buy it now. And the hoodie jacket version is also in there. And full kits for kids as well of the Stone Roses latest gear is in the store also. Anyone interested in the international shirts for the World Cup, they're all now in there as well. Get in there, fill your boots, everybody. Let's see. Leon Football says, Adam, it's not going to be a Carrick, mates. It's fantasy if you think anybody is happy to just qualify for the Champions League next season. As this season is over, the pressure is on us to challenge. I don't think that makes sense, Leon, to be honest. Who would you bring in ahead of Michael Carrick if he makes Champions League football this season? And all my arguments have ever been is if Michael Carrick gets Champions League football, the pressure and the financial burden on football clubs makes this a precious season. The pressure isn't off Michael Carrick or Manchester United. The football club is going to completely fall apart if we don't make Champions League football. This is where we're at. We're going to have to sell the majority of our squad to try and survive. We're going to have to bring academy players through that are probably just not ready yet. This season is massive. So the pressure is on this season. And Chelsea, Liverpool will look at United and be worried right now because their summers are going to change if they don't get Champions League football. So if Carrick manages to get United over the line with a failing team, which we have all criticised over the last few years, which is what we've got right now, and he does more than what Ten Hag and Ruben Amorim did, then he does belong in that seat, I think, above everybody else, because honestly, the names that I mentioned, unless Julian Nagelsmann comes out and says, I want the Man United job, and United have said, we want to give it to you, then that's the only man now that's going to come forward, unless Enrique changes his mind, that's going to convince me that Michael Carrick isn't the right man. Nagelsmann or Enrique. We know that Ancelotti and Tuchel are off the table now. And Nagelsmann's a bit iffy because he doesn't like the process. I don't think he'll go for it, to be honest. And Enrique, I don't think he's 100% on the project. So they're the only two managers that I would look at and go, they're the ones that are probably going to definitely convince United that Carrick isn't the right man, even if he gets Champions League football. Your Glasners, your Areolas, your Marco Silvas, your Pochettinos, these types of managers, I would take Carrick over all of them all day long, because he's already done what is necessary for United now in this period, which is stabilising top four. And then maybe 2028, after another good transfer window in 27, we can start to challenge for the title. That's what I think we've got in front of us now anyway. I think that's very realistic, to be honest. Next season worries me if we get Champions League this season, staying in it next season for any manager is a huge ask. Playing 2 to 4 games a week, I worry for a big drop-off. Well, this is where the transfer window has to come into its own. Again, Manchester United, let's say, for instance, we bring in the 3 midfielders we know we need. We bring in another fullback, we bring in another centre-back, we bring in another centre-forward. I think then you're looking at a squad that is probably strong enough. That's backed up by some quality coming through in Manchester United's academy. I'm talking about bringing a winger in and still having Shea Lacey there next season. I'm talking about bringing a striker in and having Sesko and that striker, and then Mbeumo and Cunha to also fill in the number 9s. Because we've still got perhaps Mainu to step forward in the 10 alongside Bruno Fernandes staying at Manchester United. And the other midfielders we brought in can cover Mainu in that position, perhaps, maybe. Then you're looking at fullbacks, Mazraoui and Dalot on the right. Another left-back, like we said, we need to bring in Shaw and that player on the left-hand side. Harry and Mas and Diego Leon coming through the ranks to cover that when needed. Carabao Cup, FA Cup games perhaps through the season. Another centre-back gives us 6 centre-backs to choose from for 2 positions. Radek Vitek coming back from loan at Bristol gives us him and Senna Lamens as our goalkeeping options. There's 2 players for every single position in Manchester United's team in a 4-2-3-1. That's what I'm looking at. And some cover on top in other positions as well. That's how Manchester United give academy players chances. That's how Manchester United develop Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro, because we have to play them. And I think we will be okay. But it's going to take 6 players coming in this summer for me to feel confident in saying what I've just said. 6 is what we need. The centre-back, the left-back, the 3 midfielders, and a striker. I think we have got enough wide, a 6 or 7, because you could bring in another winger. If United go for a forward, I'll find it strange that we do go for a wide player, because you could say you've got Dogu, you've got Cunha, you've got Mbeumo, you've got Ahmad, and you've got Lacey in them positions now, which is the wide attacking players. Then you'll have the striker and Sesko, and maybe Chido another season on, development-wise, to cover up front. And obviously, Mbeumo can play there as well. Bruno, Mainu, 3 midfielders in behind them. Yeah, it's there. I think it is there. And I think we will be okay. I get your fears, though, Carl. Honestly, I do. And he's bringing in the right players. The mentality has to be bang on as well, doesn't it? It's hard finding the right player for Manchester United. And if we get, like we did, I've said it many times, the attitude of the players that we've had last summer, that's like a 1 in a million summer, that. You've got Sesko coming through and doing what he's doing now. Brilliant goalkeeper in Senna Lamens. And in Mbeumo and Cunha, have made a huge difference in Man United's attack this season. That's a difficult summer to replicate. And we need to do it with an extra 2 to 3 players on top this summer. Because we're losing Xerxes, we're losing Agate, we're losing Casemiro. Them players all gone. Obviously, Manchester United are going to be moving the loan players out. You could even say in a squad at the moment, a matchday squad, Tyrell Malacia is there. So he's going. So when you're looking at matchday squad players right now, Casemiro, Agate, Xerxes, Malacia, they're all gone. 4 players for Man United's matchday squad. You need to replace them, like for like, and then buy players on top of that. So, if fair, you could say, if United's go into next season in Europe, 60 plus games a season, we've just brought 4 players in, well, that's still the same as what we've got now. Players are better, obviously, and you've got better players there to replace. You might have a fitter player than Casemiro, a better player than Agate. So Agate at the moment would come in more comfortably, or his replacement would come in more comfortably. A replacement for Casemiro could maybe play 2 games a week where he can't. Yeah, that's all good and well. And then you've only got 2 more players on top of them to add to the squad. Now, the squad is quite big, obviously, like we said, but it just goes to show, doesn't it? The players that are leaving United, you still got to replace them and then some on top of that. And that's going to be the difficult thing for United. And that's where the academy has to step in, because them FA Cup games, them League Cup games, or Manchester United comfortably 3-0 up in a game, and you can bring someone off for 25 minutes and bring on an academy player comfortably on the game. All of them little things make a massive difference. And that's where the academy needs to step in next season. Not bringing academy players through and starting them in games. No, that's not going to work. We can't expect them to be able to do that. It has to be 2 players for every single position in the squad and then academy players on top. That's what United are going to need next season to survive and even compete. So, yeah, that I think is the concern I think that Carl's talking about there. Being able to play consistently at this level that Carrick probably wants us to, or whoever the new coach is going to be hard with the squad that we have got right now. Adam, I disagree. City can get Enrique and go to even another level because they would back him with players he wants. Yeah, Enrique, I don't think Enrique is a Pep Guardiola. I don't. Look, I'm watching Enrique in League 1 right now. And to be honest, I like the manager. I think he's a great manager, I do. But I think he's done what he did last season and the drop-off again. Great managers consistently get them players back up and they go again. Now, Pep has done that. And he's done it in the hardest league. So any manager is a drop-off, mate. Anyone that comes in is nowhere near Pep Guardiola quality and what he has done at City. No one's going to be able to do that. No one's at that level. Maybe they will find someone who could do it, but no, I don't think so. Cal says we just won't be able to buy enough players in one window. It's a World Cup year as well. Remember, the window won't even start properly until mid-July. I think he will. I mean, for instance, if you wanted to buy Baleba, he's not at the World Cup. So you could go and get that deal done. I think what you are going to find is a lot of transfers starts early. I think a lot of pre-contract agreements in place, ready to go for when the window opens and when the players come back from the World Cup. So, yeah, and look, don't get me wrong, like United did a lot of business from mid-July forward last summer, didn't they? The 3 of the main signings, Mbumo, obviously Lamens and Sesko, all happened between July and August, so not really a problem. And obviously, I think the transfer window is later as well this season. And the change of the start of the season as well, later start and no international break for the first 6 weeks of the season is big because they're having that big international break, aren't they? Where they're going to go play, I think, like 4 games in one break. So they're moulding the first two international breaks together. So the season starts later and the first international break, which always gets in the way of the transfer deadline day, if you remember. You buy a player and then they go straight on international duty. Look, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference in terms of what we're talking about, but there are a lot of changes coming in. An awful lot of changes coming in. I do think that we are going to see a busy window for Manchester United, and I think it will kickstart. I think we're going to start hearing stories and possible sign-offs and certain deals come the end of May, personally. I think that's what's going to start happening. Because I think clubs need to be prepared, and I think it's going to be difficult. And the scramble that like Carl's talking about there from the middle of July when the World Cup finishes to the 1st of September. I mean, you think about it, it sounds like it's a lot of time because you've got 7 or 8 weeks there to get all of your transfers done still. It's enough time, but I think all of the stories will start to come out in June and we'll start to find out what's happening before it's actually even official. You know what I mean by that. That's the way that it always works, isn't it? Anyway, that is our show this morning, everybody. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat, for getting involved in the debate this morning. Football is back this weekend, everybody. Michael Carrick's press conference is tomorrow. And, you know, here on FUTV, we always start our weekends on a Friday. The wait is almost over. A weekend, well, Monday night, United are back. And we'll find out who's fit and who's not over the last couple of days since the players have been back in training as well. So, yeah, interesting updates coming up. I'll keep you updated with everything throughout the day if anything breaks. Meanwhile, we're all just going to sit back and just enjoy the aftermath and meltdown of Arsenal fans after dropping points last night at Wolves. It is going to be entertaining anyway. And as a United fan, you got to love it. The only bad bit about it is it just opens up the door for Manchester City. But thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Thank you to Super Chats at Roz on that one. Get your comments in below when the show is finished, everybody. Make sure that you do get into the comment section and give me your thoughts because I've not managed to read everyone else's out in the live chat today. So I'm very grateful if you could just get in there with that. Give the video a like, of course, everyone. And make sure you subscribe to Forever United TV as well, everyone, for all of your Man United